send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello. Howdy. No. What a shame. Yeah, good start. Hello. Howdy.
Yes, sir.
What's up?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I just took you off the speaker. Appreciate you.
Alright, what's up, man?
All right. Hey, I just wanted to ask you a couple questions, right? When a reporter had asked him last week about being able to defend the Constitution, and he said he wanted to talk to a lawyer, I'm like, that don't seem like that lines up to me, right? And then the thing with the habeas corpus, like, trying to eliminate it. And then I also wanted to say, bro, I appreciate what you're doing, man. You're a good voice out here, and letting these people know that they can't just come out there with that hate, and and the thing is, right, when you're talking to the guy and you're letting them know some of these things you're gonna hate the country or hurt the country, and they like okay with it, bro. So I just appreciate you pointing out to them, what it really means to be an American, in my opinion, right? And last thing I want to kind of say is that Richard Nixon, bro, he for the good of the country, resigned, right? Because he didn't want to hurt the country, and it just seems like some of these guys seem like they just want to crash the car, man. So I appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I subscribed today. I like it, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, just real quick on the lawyer thing. It's hilarious too, because I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Biden trying to run again at the age of 97. But if Biden would have answered questions like Trump does with I don't know, and I gotta ask my lawyer, and also like they ask him about the Constitution, he's like, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. It's like, bro, you're the president, you're bigger than a lawyer. You should know basic. You can just read the Constitution, but the point of this whole thing, there's a reason they have a prison camp in El Salvador, right? No one even has the chance to ask that question. Like, why is there even a prison that we're sending people to in El Salvador? Like, it makes no sense at all. We have prisons in America. We pay a lot of money for them, and they're not great, obviously. But when it comes to El Salvador, they're using that for loopholes in the Constitution. And the argument they made about that is if they get someone out of U.S. soil, then the Constitution no longer applies. Essentially, no courts can demand your return. Your return if you're any person, whether you're a citizen or a immigrant or anyone at all. And people really don't understand that. And the habeas corpus thing, they want to suspend that. That's your right to a trial before the government takes you away and puts you in prison, basically. Like, that's your right to have any type of due process. To even know where your body is. The government can just like take you anywhere at that point. And the Trump admin wants to do that. Under wartime laws that are reserved for, those laws are reserved for like World Wars, World War II, actual invasions. But the issue in America is many people are so, and I use the word pampered. I know people still have issues, but America is so pampered. Like, we were safe after, a big part of our power was being safe after World War II because every other part of the world was like destroyed at that point. So we were a huge, manufacturing giant. But like, the fact people think what's happening right now is some type of invasion when we're at the most prosperous time in human history is so sad too, because it's like people had it too good for too long. They don't realize how bad things can be if shit falls apart. So yeah, I appreciate you calling
Hey,
and
bro,
saying all that.
and I apologize, but I just want to say one more thing real quick, though, right? Is that and that's what I was trying to point out to people before the election. Is I was like, bro, you do realize that this dude was the president during the shutdown. You know what I'm saying? During the pandemic, it was his not acting like, you know, in a timely manner and efficiently that made it so bad and crashed the economy so bad. And Biden had to work to try to get that back onto track. And then you finally see the numbers start to turn where the momentum is heading, in my words, a positive direction. And then they just want to come in here and let them sabotage it again, bro. I'm just like, why are y'all doing that, bro? But thank you, man. And, you know, if you run for politics, bro, you got my vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you for being involved and watching this. I know it's not easy, so. Let's see. Let me update this. Thank you so much for the donations, guys. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. What did I just do? I did not mean to do that. All right. Next caller. Thank you, caller, for being nice. For being nice to me. My little liberal heart cannot handle it. I drove 10 hours today, by the way, so I'm a little gassed. So I'm gonna take a couple more calls and Make sure you drop a like and subscribe for the algorithm. If you want to call back, call back. I saw the numbers calling a lot, like 25 times, so feel free to call back again. You know how it is. Nice. I think we should simply give up. Stephen Miller is my favorite person. Holy crap. Usually if I put people on the screen like Charlie Kirk, I get viewers. Who can I put on the screen today? I guess so. Cash Patel. Cash Patel is not doing anything. Like, he is really just getting paid for nothing. Pam Bondi is an agent of Qatar, which is really cool, really awesome, really nice. I really like when our attorney general is bought out by a foreign government, a foreign adversary. I'm happy Trump is friends with them, though. You know, the whole thing about them killing American troops and not a big deal to Trump, you know. You know how it is. Just call the number. Call the number. I need people to talk to. Call the number. Call the number. Call the number. Call the number. Call it. Stimulus check. Well, I mean, if you think about Trump too during the pandemic, they say the tyranny, the tyrannical Democrat governors, okay, they should be in jail now because of their tyranny. And it's like, dude, like, Trump did the lockdowns, dude. Trump declared the national emergency and encouraged the states to shut down, and all the Republicans shut down too. But no, Democrat. And by the way, it's also funny that people cry about COVID as if it was like a communist lockdown for 10 years of famine, and not like they couldn't go to McDonald's for a month. Like, that shows you how pampered this generation of people is, that they think the COVID lockdowns were the biggest persecution they've ever felt in their entire lives. And also the biggest part of COVID was them not being able to go to the bar. Like, it's awesome. Trump is great and you love him. Made of straw. Nice. All right, no callers, brother. Teacher defends millions of government waste. Charlie Kirk is evil, bro. Charlie Kirk is evil. He really is evil, huh?
Values guide how you invest your money and save for your
yes,
future.
invest your money and save in gold. The Patriot portfolio. Thank you. I need a Patriot portfolio. You know, to sell a portfolio or any financial platform, I need alliteration and I need good branding. That's what makes it a good platform.
I ran for state senate because our government doesn't work well. There's a
Call from
Adam.
Hello.
And I wonder.
What? That guy called that many times to say that? What's wrong with these guys, dude? What's wrong with these guys?
A lot of waste. There's a lot of bloat. I ran for state senate because our government doesn't work well. There's a lot of waste. There's a lot of bloat. And yet the things that you're advocating about going against are what help people. Everybody here.
The biggest waste and bloat in the government is private corporations extorting and corrupting government finances or entities, or like, for example, Medicaid. Medicaid fraud is done by companies overcharging Medicaid. It's not done by the people on Medicaid. The people that abuse Medicaid make up such a small portion of recipients that it would cost more money and create more waste and bloat if we would crack down on them. It's cheaper to let those very few people abuse the system because there's so few people abusing it. But the big abusers are the rich people that donate to Trump's campaign.
Everybody's here because they support freedom. Because as you say, we want a freer market, we want a freer place. And yet these policies like destroying the Department of Education, which I'm a
as Donald Trump's doing price controls and tariffs,
teacher for, hurts our ability to take power in the marketplace. It just adds to the few rich people owning all of us. Right now in America, the top 0.01% have an average $600 million of wealth. The bottom half have an average $7,000. And
by the way, Charlie Kirk talks about BlackRock and other big companies buying all the housing, but he's also against, remember, he's against raising their taxes. You cannot raise their taxes. I mean, Charlie Kirk can say mean words. Charlie Kirk can talk about BlackRock, but if you want to raise their taxes, Charlie Kirk's going to have a meltdown.
Destroying the Department of Education, the Center for Budget, the Consumer Protection Bureau, that is actively helping those rich people take all of our money. Prove me wrong.
Okay, so Trump's been president for 6 weeks.
Sure.
Right. So we had an oligarchy as Donald Trump was becoming president.
Yes.
We had all these agencies. How did they prevent the oligarchy?
They didn't. No, we have a bad oligarchy, but Trump is increasing our oligarchy. He had Jeff Bezos, he had Tim Cook, he had the richest people on the earth.
Okay, we did not have an oligarchy, okay? That did not happen. When Bernie said oligarchy, if he's referring to the top power holders, whatever, okay? Bernie says now we're definitely an oligarchy, so he adjusted the language a little bit from just generally there's too much power in the system for the rich and whatever. So Bernie was always radical about that, Bernie Sanders. And then, like, we did not have an oligarchy before. Like, now we're getting very close to a kleptocracy, oligarchy, whatever word you want to use. But before we had a political system, a democratic republic or a representative system that we had way too much money influence in. Okay, way too much money, way too many politicians staying their entire lives. Okay, so we did have a system that had some faults to it, but an oligarchy is very, very extreme. Okay, we're going towards an oligarchy now. I think even now Bernie says we're moving towards oligarchy. So the actual terms you use here is a really big deal. We're definitely the closest now to oligarchy that we've been in modern American history because of Trump. But
to have more money than the bottom half of the country combined, sitting right behind him. And Elon Musk is helping those regulations get destroyed so they can take even more power.
As an attendee. But let's go through one by one.
And they donated to it.
So, yeah, they all gave him, Trump, millions of dollars. And right now, I mean, Apple and all these companies are vying for exemptions. That's why Trump is giving exemptions to like luxury cars from the UK because he's friends with them. And they gave him money. So
let's go one by one. Sure. Let's first go to the Department of Education. So the Department of Education, which I'm guessing you're in favor of, like $47 million going to improving learning outcomes in Asia?
Yeah. Okay, because helping other people, helping other people helps us. I'm a teacher. When other
Okay, it's a whole conversation. To be in favor of things like helping other countries, you need to have a big worldview and understand how the globe works. But I mean, conservatives think that America is safe because we have two oceans from any conflict, which is an amazing position. Helping, for example, one thing Doge cut is supporting pea farmers in Guatemala. Okay? And Doge said on Fox News, why are we giving so much money to pea farmers to make peas in Guatemala? It's because many of these countries they have crop failure. Okay, they have corrupt governments. They have wars. They have societies that fall apart. And one big reason is a lack of food or a lack of water or a lack of commerce. So if you help have foreign aid to Guatemala, for example, so they can make their own agriculture system function and have actual markets for that, have enough to feed their population, then there will be a lot less immigrants. Okay, a lot less immigrants from Central and South America. Okay, if you give support to these countries, you can stem and prevent the flow of immigration, to prevent large numbers of immigration. That's one big thing with climate change, and conservatives don't like climate change because they're gay. And like, when crop failure happens, when crops fail in these really hot climates near the equator, then a lot of people are going to leave from there and try to have a mass migration movement, which is not going to go well. Okay, so these are all facts that conservatives don't like because they're weenies.
people don't match our economy, when they can't participate in it, everybody's hurt by that.
So I do have a question, though. We're not even helping ourselves. Why should we help other countries?
So you're right. We should help You're right. We should help ourselves more. And that means funding the Department of Education, funding healthcare.
Let me finish.
Go.
How does one help oneself? Have educational outcomes gotten better or worse since the creation of the Department of Education?
The bloated Department of Education, you are right. We're spending way too much money on administration. That money needs to be go to funding school meals. That needs to be reducing class sizes.
You sound like a Doge advocate, man.
No, because Doge is not doing that. By destroying the Department of Education, they're not funding Title I classrooms. If we funded Title I classrooms with the money that we promised, every single classroom would get a...
If you look at the actual data for this, the economic models that foster the best education systems have a top-down model for funding education. So the Department of Education in like Norway and these countries that have very good education systems, they are funded nationally. Okay, we don't do localized property taxes there. In America, we do property taxes. So one big reason the test scores can go down is because of lack of equality. So you can have a very rich area and a very poor area, and they can have very different test scores and create different either one body of students that never get to improve because they live in a poor area. There's no opportunity, no funding for the schools. Then you have really rich areas. So inequality is the reason our overall test scores can go down. The Department of Education, their only role in this, distributing funding and grants or whatever, there's no reason why, if you understand anything about the Department of Education, there's no reason why their funding would make test scores go down, okay? You could argue funding's not going to the optimal place, but removing that department and doing nothing with it, or killing it, or making it only a servicer for student loans makes no logical sense at all. It does not logically follow to blame the Department of Education on for test scores or anything.
The paraprofessional, which would help my students immensely. So they are failing, and as you're saying before, that Florida is the most equitable state. Yeah. It's not. The richest students get $2,000 more to their schools every year than the fourth quartile students.
So I am curious.
True. Oh no, he has facts. I bet Charlie Kirk is gonna say something emotional here. It's gonna be a loaded statement about like, I guess you don't like good things and you're bad.
Curious though that the Department of Education, we've seen standards go down. They want to send it back to the states. By definition, we have the Department of Education. 11 million people are in education like yourself. 11 million of them. 6.7 million are administrators. 6.7 million are administrators. Can we agree we should fire most of those administrators?
Look, I can't say that because I don't know what those administrators do. I think
for the administrators, labor costs here are a very, very small part of the budget. That's why Doge can't cut anything, because they're just firing people. The operational budgets of these departments are going to be huge, okay? The grants are going to be the big part. Having staff for any agency is going to be the cheapest part of that agency, okay? Very basic. So firing administrators can actually make it much less effective, okay? The ROI on it, a lot more funding can be thrown out because you don't have the right people to get it in the right locations. Because, if you think right now that the department does not have the resources to get the money to the right schools, then taking away resources or taking away funding is going to make the situation even worse. It's going to make everything worse. The whole situation.
We have way too much money.
You're a teacher. Time out. I got to interrupt you. Are you a teacher?
Yeah.
What do the administrators in your school do?
They help us out a lot. I mean, do you think I could manage my classroom if I didn't
absolutely.
You are wrong.
No,
I could not manage my classroom unless I had an administration helping me out.
You need 5.
Yeah, and you need them to help apply for grants, and you need for the school to run. For administration, like, are they talking about just like the front office, like an NBA team?
5 administrators for one teacher. That's the ratio.
That's bad. You're right. That's bad.
Okay, but that's the current ratio. So 5 to 1. But
okay, just in general, really quick about like administrators like you have the administrators for schools, and then you have the administrators for government departments, and the interaction between those is really important. But just really quick to round back on, because you have to understand how to run the school and have staffing, and it's like a coach for a basketball team. Okay, you can have good players or bad players or whatever, and a good coach can help set everything into motion the right way, whatever. The only people that the Department of Education would hurt if you got rid of it are poor kids and disability services. So I mean, I don't know. It's whatever. America hates poor kids, especially American poor kids. So,
secondly, let me ask you. This is a very important
point. It should be reduced, but destroying the Department of Education is not the answer, because then you hurt the American economy by not allowing people to build up their human capital.
Time out. We already have the evidence. from the advent of Department of Education, we are now 26 in education. We were top 5 when it started. We're the lowest in reading, math, arithmetic in the Western world. Department of Education has made our standards substandard, and we spend $250 billion a year on the Department of Education, and yet our kids we can't find a single kid that can read at grade level in a Baltimore public school or that can do math in a Chicago public school. And yet we keep on spending billions.
Remember, remember, the big issue is inequality, poverty, and the way we fund education by property tax is localized. Okay, we would need to, and we don't pay teachers enough. Like, we don't have. Also, other countries have good kindergartens and also pre-K, and it's universal. They have universal pre-K, free lunches. They have better childcare, so kids are learning in their early developmental years. Okay, kids from the ages of 1 to, let's just say, 1 to 10. All right, in other countries, kids have so many more services than American kids do. I mean, European kids have using Europe, like Europe, for example. Like, look at France. If you ever Google their support for mothers and for children and childcare and pre-K and education for elementary schools, Americans fall behind because we don't provide the resources for Americans. The Department of Education is helping, okay, but it's helping. It's life support for a broken system. We need to change the way we fund education. We need to have more pre-K programs. Like, it's such basic. Charlie Kirk, like, he really just goes on campuses to teach kids how to, like, these college kids, the absolute worst way to look at these problems. It's so, America's going to fall apart because people like him are spreading the complete, like, fake news.
So maybe the solution is crush the current system, send the money back to the
Yeah, okay, emotion. Crush the current system. Send the money back to, it's just like,
our families and parents, moms and dads.
Okay, yeah, let's move away from the model that works in all these countries that we want to copy the good countries, right? So if we get rid of this and crush it and give it back to the States, we're actually going in the wrong direction. But it's whatever. Americans don't care about being good at things. We care about being American.
Dads spend the money as they see fit, more choice, more competition, and make it localized, not federalized.
So here's
also, there is zero evidence that competition helps education in these studies and these schools. Nordic countries, for example, they went to private models for a little bit, but it never did well. Competition did not ever help. It does not help education. Providing resources helps. There's no study to think that makes. And by the way, the biggest problems being like inequality and poverty. Private institutions would be pay for play, many of them. It'd be like colleges are now with legacy admissions. It'd be even more, unequal. There'd be even more inequality and inequality of opportunity in general. So, like, that would make the problem much worse.
Here's the problem.
So
the
painful.
state of Florida introduced a bill. My opponent introduced a
Wow, Wubsy. What's that? Is that a show? What is Wow, Wubsy? What is going on in my brain? I gotta go to bed, dude. I'm going to bed after this. Wow, Wubsy. It is a show.
Bill to provide $7,000 for school choice in Florida. That's government waste. A lot of that money is going to Disney, to cruises.
Yeah, well, a lot of the money from these, like in Texas, for example, if you're a millionaire, you can get the private school voucher. So, woohoo!
Increased waste. It's also every dollar that's taken out of the Florida public education system given to private families. 75% of that is going to families that
you're against school choice?
75%. I'm not against school choice as long as we fund education properly, but 75% of the money is going to families that can already afford education, which means my students are getting $3 billion taken out of their education to go directly to the richest Floridians.
Hold on, I just want
someone said about AI. It is sad. I mean, we should be planning right now. We should be planning for the next generation of humanity, but we're getting like, I guess, like clawed backwards by really insecure people who hate modern society because they don't thrive in it. Because women are successful in a more intellectual age. Minorities in America are doing better now as well. So white men in America are choosing, especially white evangelical men, by the way. If you're a white man with no college degree, you had a 40% chance to vote for Trump, okay? Well, not 40% chance, but 40% of men who are white with no college degree, but they're not evangelical, 40% voted for Trump. If you are a white man with no college degree, a white man with no college degree, but you are evangelical, you voted for Trump 80% to 20%. So, like, yeah. White evangelical men are really just like deciding to move our country in a certain direction. Yeah. Okay.
I want to make sure I understand. So you're against the money going to homeschooling? Like, what do you mean by this Disney thing? You're talking way too fast. Like,
so we need money going to where it's needed. To school meals.
What is your critique? You're saying $3 billion going to what? I'm not.
So $3 billion is being taken out of the public education system
and given
where? Directly to the people who can
for
already
what?
afford a private
for,
education.
For what reason?
To help people get their private education.
Okay.
The problem is there also weren't restrictions on that to limit what the private schools could raise their tuition by.
You're totally wrong. I get what you're saying. What you're saying, though, well, it's because...
Show me the facts.
It's their taxpayer dollars that are coming back as a refund, right?
It's also the public taxpayer dollars that are put into public money and they were given back to private individuals rather than going to the public system.
It's their own money that's coming back.
The rich people stealing our tax dollars.
Hold on. It's easy to say, like, the rich people,
yeah.
Right?
The 75% of the money is going to private education.
How do you define rich, by the way? How much money a year is rich?
If you can afford a private education, which is anywhere from $15,000 to $40,000 a year, you are rich. And 75% of the money going to the private and 75% of the money go. Half of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. If you can afford $40,000, you're richer than most people. Now, 75.
But I mean, if you like Kirk, you're probably able to afford this. To be honest, many of you are. The whole private school thing, it's just the money flows into terrible areas, and the whole thing is like, let's say you have a poor school in a city, and then you have a really nice school in the suburb, and you say, okay, we're going to give private school vouchers to the people in the city because they can go to the suburban school now. Then the same issues reoccur. All the money from the vouchers flows out to the suburban school, and then you have to pay for transportation, and then everyone wants to go. Everyone is going to go to the good school, right? So if everyone can go to the good school, everyone wants to go there. Demand, supply, and demand. There's still going to be a lot of kids that got to find schools. So when it comes to how selective the good schools are, let's say the good schools, they're going to get a lot of legacy admissions. They're going to get more, they're going to set standards for who they're going to accept into the school. They're going to get filled up quick. And let's say all the kids do go to that school because they can find transportation to a suburban school. All the kids who need to walk to their school in the city, that school is going to be even more underfunded as kids take money out of there. And it is true that many rich people just use this as a way to get money back from the government for the private school vouchers purposes. There's a whole thing on why private school vouchers do not work at all, but it's really just painful. It's based on lies, selfishness, and I don't know, bro. If you talk about like America competing with like China and other countries around the world, if we're gonna give up on America being a strong country in the name of ideologues like this, then GG's, I guess. It's gonna be a Chinese century. We already know that, but whatever. Because like China and at the bare minimum, we're not an authoritarian dictatorship yet. China is. They can put kids into whatever education. They can make people do whatever labor they want. They can do whatever they want with their country. In America, the least we can do is have some type of funding mechanism for education where like poor schools can get a grant from the Department of Education. If we're not going to even have that help from the federal government, we are cooked as a country, just with human capital, just with workers, just with like how knowledgeable our citizens are. For a country like this to work, people need to be kind of moving in the same general direction on a team. And right now we are diverging away from each other and becoming more isolated than probably ever before in such good times when it comes to like general prosperity. But
75% of the money that is going from the public education system into the private system is going to those who can already afford private education.
What is the number one predictor of student success?
How many years a teacher has been an educator?
Yeah, actually, the quality of this teacher. So can we agree at least, because we'll not agree on everything, that we should be able to fire teachers at will?
At will is, what do you mean at will? For what cause?
If you're a bad teacher.
What do you mean by a bad teacher?
I mean, you're on the line.
What do you
Poor schools waste the money. I guarantee you rich schools waste more money. But for poor schools, there's not enough money in general. So you're just saying they waste money because it's fun to say. It's whatever.
mean by bad teacher?
Yeah, someone who doesn't listen to their students, is not good at what they do, graded by other teachers.
So for cause, not at will. Yes, we should fire teachers for cause.
Okay, but I think that do we have too many teachers or not enough teachers?
We have in Hillsborough County.
It's not the point of the government directing execs. Okay, the states still decide curriculum. Okay, and local governments decide a lot. School boards decide a lot. When we're talking about like Department of Education, they don't do curriculum. It's about funding mechanisms. So how can we most effectively solve inequality for poor schools and rich schools all across America to bring all Americans up to a certain standard? Okay, whether it's countywide or statewide or nation or nationally or federally, there should be a better funding mechanism to at least allow most Americans to be in a good school. Okay, that's why America's falling behind. That's why America's falling behind with education. If you really care about this issue, you should listen to me. If you're just a weenie, if you're just a weenie, then I guess not.
Alone, we're missing 1,200 across
See, I
the state
reject
of Florida.
the premise.
Across the state of Florida,
what we
there
need
are
is better
5,000 teachers.
we need better.
That's 50,000 students without an educator. You asked me a question. Let me finish.
We need better, higher paid teachers.
Yes, absolutely. And Florida has the 48th lowest average teacher pay.
Why do you think that is?
Because
Look at the stats on how much money Baltimore gets. Also, okay, if you are a poor school, okay, poor schools will get more money from the Department of Education because they're poor and they need more grants. Okay, the rich schools are not going to get big payouts from the Department of Education. Maybe some for students who have disabilities, but when it comes to the other grants for other programs, poor schools get more. The reason poor schools have lower scores with more Department of Education funding is because they're from dirt poor areas with no opportunity and no resources, okay? And the argument there would be that the Department of Education does not go nearly far enough because those same schools are still going to be resource drained. And all those kids are not going back to big suburban homes with parents that make a combined income of $250,000 a year. They go back to very tiny homes where their parents might not even be working, many of them, in crime-ridden communities with no opportunities, no chance to even get out. And teachers who work there, I mean, they're the heroes of our society. But the job of teachers in these like schools in these poor areas is so much more difficult than a suburban teacher school, or a suburban teacher's job. Like it's just like insane.
Because we have a Republican-controlled state for the past 30 years that are increasingly taking away money for teachers.
But hold on, if I'm not mistaken, Florida is in the top 5, if not the number 1, on educational outcomes for students, right?
On them passing, not actual outcomes. On them passing.
So that's number 1 in the country, I think, though, right? And it was like number 30 or 40 back before school choice was. So I'm just curious at your complaint here. But it's fine. Let's just kind of go back to the thing. We'll go to the next question. Sure. The Department of Education, why should the federal government have any role in education?
Because spending that money on helping people helps the entire economy.
No, wait. That's not where the money's going.
Let me finish. Helping people helps the entire economy.
How has that worked?
When you let people fall through the cracks, it destroys our economy. It's more expensive.
Okay, education, and by the way, yes, letting people fall through the cracks. Another point, yes. Okay, crime rates. Okay, crime rates go up if you don't fund, like, if you funded Chicago and Baltimore schools. If you funded them at the same rate that the rich suburb schools are funded, the crime rate's going to go down over a 10-year span more than you could effectuate with any police reform, for example. Like funding education is such a huge cheat code.
When you take away the Consumer Protections Bureau that helps $16 billion of scams go back to the American people, that helps our economy because then they can take place in the marketplace.
True. Yes, we're getting scammed, and we need agencies to help us out there. Oh.
What you're advocating for is to reduce the things that push people into the marketplace, to increase the barriers, and to destroy the freedom of our marketplace.
Again, you have not answered the question. Let's just.
This is kind of funny. It says that Florida has high scores because they help fund. They have some of the best public schools for its funding. That's really interesting for like,
Reiterate it. Department of Education.
That answer because it helps people.
Got started in 1979.
That was the question.
The same.
Oh, they have a really high propensity. They have a really high amount of let me see how much. Okay, top ranked schools. Pine View School in Osprey is ranked number 1 in the state and 18th nationally. Okay, let's look up this one school that is on the website about Florida schools and about why Florida schools are doing so good right now for high schools. Pine View School. Oh, Florida has a bunch of schools for the gifted. Let's see if there's a tuition here. For the gifted. Let me see. That's a public school there. Is there another school? Let me see. You could also look at the overall. Oh no, that's a different school I was looking at here. Doing this research on screen is not good.
Same sort of nice sounding stuff we started to do over the last 35, 40 years. And
it's a college preparatory coeducational school in Osprey, Florida. Interesting. Oh, it is a school for the intellectually gifted. Okay.
We have the lowest standards ever had. We have childhood poverty all over the place. We have broken public schools because spending money from DC does not solve the problem. Empowering parents does.
So
parental agency is the solution, not not bureaucratic empowerment.
Spending money on spending. The federal
Got to get to the next one.
1 second. The federal government spending money based solely on tests hurts people. Because then we don't get the money going to critical thinking, which your misinformation machine succeeds on. Because when people can't critically think, they accept your assertions
got it.
as reality.
So last question. Hold on. So you would say I'm a misinformation machine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Fine. You're a teacher.
Yes.
What is a woman?
What is a woman? Oh, buddy.
Owned.
So we define gender as a set of preferences that you have.
It really is just kind of like conservatives getting mad at, I don't know, like, if the person you're talking to gets mad at what definitions of words are, then I don't know how you can reason with them.
Gender is a set of preferences we have. Woman is a social construct that we've agreed upon. Typically, we imagine womanhood as makeup or whatever. It is.
See, you cannot give an actual answer. You have to give a stupid question in return. You have to give a really dumb question in return. You cannot try to explain things. They are not here to hear reason. They don't care about the reason. They don't care about the facts. They don't care about anything except their own emotions and making libs get mad. All right? So you have to have a really dumb response. A really, really, really dumb response. Like,
There is a difference between the word woman and being a biological female. Woman is a social construct that we use. Listen for a second. I'm telling you what it means. Woman is a social construct. We agree on these set of preferences. If I tell you that I'm a man, it's because I want you to know that I like these set of preferences. If I tell you I'm a woman, it's because I want you to know that I agree with these set of preferences.
Can men give birth?
Can men or can males? Because males can't. Listen for a second.
that's a fine differentiation. I mean, if you're going to own the whole, like, oh, well, males cannot, but females can. I think that's a fine argument for actual people. Remember, Charlie Kirk is not an actual person. He's a lizard person who is funded by big oil and other big dark money funders to spread propaganda on campuses to make students mad about gender issues and race issues because he wants to make sure that everyone's too distracted from the real enemy, which is the ultra wealthy that fund him. So if we fight about these social issues all day, they can easily be corrupt and take money from all of us and steal from all of us. So remember, if you're talking to a regular person, using the conversation of, you know, I respect what someone wants to be called, and in my opinion, you know, life is really complicated, and I know people who go through this. I don't understand, you know, what it means to be gay, for example. I'm not gay. I mean, looking at you, you look kind of cute, buddy, but I'm not gay, you know, yet. You know, making that kind of statement and saying, I don't really understand everything. I'm not God. I'm not God. I don't know everything. You know, I do know that males and females, sure, like males cannot give birth, females can. But, you know, if someone wants to be called a man or a woman, I think it's the right thing to call them the name they want. And I care about respecting them. And I do know it leads to a healthier lifestyle. And I know that through experience. And there's people that I really care about. And by the way, I don't care about all the neo pronouns. I'm not with all the neo pronouns. But when it comes to respecting people, I think it's cool to be a cool guy. Why can't you not just be a cool guy, you weenie? Call him a weenie and walk away, for real. I just got here and I already can't handle this. Yeah, I know you're a weenie. You're a weenie. How could you handle it? How could you handle it? Wow, you're a gamer girl? You're a gamer girl. Wow. That's so cool. You are so cool. You have a YouTube short of you shotgunning. You know what? I'm really happy you commented on my live stream that you cannot handle me because of my amazing political opinions. I know that I should be valuing your opinion because you are the type of person to record themselves shotgunning a truly. Okay, well, thank you for commenting.
All right.
You're the type of girl to walk into a window that's been cleaned too good and then do it again. like, bro. Like, what's even going on here? I don't know what you're commenting on. I really don't know what you're commenting on, to be honest. I don't want to hurt your head. I'm not going to use any big words for you, like onomatopoeia or Wikipedia or like anti-disestablishmentarianism. But like, it's just kind of crazy that people say things.
All right, put it right there.
Are you allowed to drive legally? When I'm on the highway, you ever on the highway and someone just does something really dumb, and you're like, why does this person drive? And then you see videos like this, and you're like, holy crap. Like, that's why the person was an inch behind me on the highway. They're just emotional. They're like kids. They're like kids trying to cut in line. They come on the shorts. Oh, you remember? Ooh.
As many of you know, a couple years ago I decided to pack up everything I need to move completely off the grid. Fully self-sustained, setting up a rainwater collection system, generating my own electricity, using my poop as fertilizer for food and for food. And I've seen a lot of comments recently asking the same thing. Why? Completely off the grid. Fully self-sustained, setting up a rainwater collection system, generating my own electricity, using my poop as fertilizer for food and for food. And I've seen a lot of comments recently asking the same thing. Why? Now, I posted a lot of videos showing the how of living off the grid. How to generate your own electricity, how to afford living off the grid, how to not get lonely while living by yourself off the grid, and how to remove your bottom set of ribs off the grid. But you guys have brought it to my attention that I've never actually explained the why I live off the grid. So in this video, I'll go over that. There's no black people here. Yeah, that's it. That's actually it. Thanks for watching. Setting up a rainwater collection system.
Okay. Thank you so much for $10. Matt? Thank you so much. Oh wait, I didn't see this earlier. Rita. Is Rita still here? Rita. Thank you for $20, Rita. Hope Rita's still here. Is Rita here? Is Rita here? Rita. Rita. Thank you. I just saw this now. Yeah, I'm gonna hop off. I drove 10 hours today. I want to get on a little bit. I'm too tired. I don't want to do any more conversations or videos because if I do that, then I'm gonna say bad things. Thank you for the donation. I just wanted to say thank you quick. I didn't see it till now. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. But yeah, my brain is gone. I drove 10 hours. Like I said, I had a long weekend. I was traveling. I wanted to come say hi to you guys. Stream a little bit, but I am gonna say bad things if I keep streaming. Join Discord, guys. Join Discord. It was a good time. I actually never saw a wedding before, so this is my first one that I went to. So, interesting time. Interesting. Very interesting. Having a follow. Thank you. Yeah, I'm a little off tonight because I'm so tired. During the final call, actually during the first call, I was zoning out a little bit. It's hard to have the energy to talk to, like, it's just kind of crazy because any conversation about this administration, I think the first caller, we jumped from like 15 different topics. It wouldn't even make for a good video because I have to like hold them down to one point and then move on. It's just so exhausting going from point to point to point and not actually finishing any conclusions. And when their argument is essentially like, okay, it's bad for America, but I don't care. It's like, what else do I say, dude? It's like, okay, this is bad for America, but I don't care. It's like, okay, thanks. Don't let me ruin it. Say it all. Nah, I gotta go to bed. Thank you guys for watching, though. Thank you for following. Hopefully I'll have more energy tomorrow. More energy tomorrow. I'll take a few more phone calls. the Charlie Kirk reactions are doing well as far as videos go. So I think I'm going to keep on doing Charlie Kirk reactions to start off the stream because it'll help me get in the algorithm and get more viewers and stuff on there. Probably one of the best ideas for how to start off videos or how to start off streams. All right, good viewership today, good numbers, good subscribers, good subscribers. Thank you for all channel members. Thank you for all donations. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. 1K if we count as, yeah. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone. I'll leave. Oh no. Typo. All right, guys. Have a good one. See you guys tomorrow. Hopefully at an earlier time. I didn't get back until like 10:30. Do I have a regular stream schedule? Okay, so my stream schedule is very random. I stream when I can, so I try to post like if I have time. If I know I have time, I'll post earlier in the day. I'm on most nights, most weeknights for sure, around 10 p.m. So I'm usually on by 10 p.m. If I'm not on by 10 p.m., there's probably a good chance I'm not streaming, unless if I announce it. But if you so yeah, I mean most nights, I probably 4 to 5 nights a week at 9:30 p.m., 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m. around there for Eastern time. 10 p.m. Eastern time. I get on whatever night I can. I'm usually busy 2 or 3 nights a week, so I can't really give an exact schedule. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Oh, here's Discord, by the way. Here's Discord for anyone that wants to come chat for a little bit. Here you go. Yes, Lori. You tell him. Yes, Lori. Yeah, I use Discord too a lot. So there's Discord if you guys want to join. Thank you. Welcome, new viewers. Thank you guys so much. Eastern time. 10 p.m. Eastern time, hopefully. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, thank you. Yes, they're suspending habeas corpus. Yes. America's great again. Woohoo, finally. I hated that Constitution. The radical Constitution. Who needed that anyway? No one even liked the Constitution, dude. Who even wanted that? Who made that dumb document that no one cares about? Like the Constitution? More like the Constipooption. The Constipooption. Alright, guys. I gotta go. I'm gonna say bad things. Good night, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, hey. Okay. I gotta go. Gotta go.